What if I told you that even the most successful people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, have had moments where they completely lost motivation? Not just a lazy Sunday or a rough week, but stretches where they didn't want to get out of bed, face the world, or even continue the very work that made them famous. Take Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time. After the 2012 Olympics, with 22 medals hanging in his home, he fell into a deep depression. He said there were days he didn't want to live, let alone swim, or JK Rowling. Long before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she was a single mother, broke and battling depression, writing in cafes not because she felt a rush of inspiration every day, but because she had a story to tell and no other way forward. Then there's Elon Musk, after SpaceX's third rocket exploded in 2008. He was weeks from bankruptcy, sleeping on friends' couches, and hearing from every investor that he should give up. His response? If something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. If Olympians, billionaires, and world-class creators can lose motivation, what chance do the rest of us have? The answer: every chance. Because motivation isn't some magical current that flows endlessly in special people. It's not a personality trait you either have or don't. It's more like a campfire. It can burn bright, die down, and be rebuilt with the right fuel. According to the 2024 Gallup Workplace Report, only 21% of employees worldwide feel engaged in their work. That means nearly 4 out of 5 people wake up without genuine motivation for their day. And research from psychologists Dacey and Ryan shows that real, lasting motivation comes from autonomy, mastery, and purpose, not just money, deadlines, or external pressure. In this episode, we're going to uncover why motivation fades, what science says about bringing it back, and how some of the most inspiring people alive reignited their fire when it was almost out. Now, question arises: why motivation fades? Let's cut through the noise. Motivation doesn't disappear because you're lazy. It fades for 3 deeply human reasons: burnout, the Plateau Effect, and misaligned goals. Burnout, when passion becomes pressure. Burnout is what happens when something you once loved becomes an unending obligation. It's the singer who no longer enjoys singing because every performance feels like a chore. Consider Simone Biles, the most decorated gymnast in history. In the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, she shocked the world by stepping back from multiple events. Her reason? Protecting her mental health. This wasn't about losing talent. It was about the cost of carrying relentless expectations. The World Health Organization reports that burnout now affects 1 in 3 professionals globally. It's not just about workload. It's about emotional exhaustion, the loss of meaning in what you do. The Plateau Effect. When progress stalls, humans are wired to crave progress. In the beginning of any journey, fitness, business, art, progress is fast and exciting. But over time, results slow down, and the rush fades. Serena Williams has spoken openly about this in tennis. Training for months, putting in brutal hours, but not feeling her performance move forward. She described it as frustrating and emotionally draining. When progress feels invisible, motivation naturally dips. It's not a flaw. It's biology. Our brains release dopamine when we see improvement. No improvement, no dopamine, no drive. Misaligned goals, climbing the wrong mountain. Sometimes, the reason we lose motivation is brutally simple. We're chasing goals we don't actually care about. Actor Jim Carrey, at the height of fame and fortune, once said, "I wish everyone could get rich and famous and have everything they ever dreamed of, so they would know that's not the answer." If your goal is based on what looks good to others, rather than what matters to you, motivation becomes an uphill battle you'll eventually lose. Now, let's talk about the science and stories of reigniting motivation. Start small. The power of micro-wins author. Stephen King writes 2,000 words every single day, even on Christmas. Not because he's always inspired, but because he knows action creates momentum. Behavior scientist B.J. Fogg found that starting with tiny habits can increase long-term habit success by up to 80%. The smaller the start, the less your brain resists it. Reframe failure. Michael Jordan's advantage. Michael Jordan famously said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. I've failed over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." This is more than a sports quote. It's a masterclass in motivation. Jordan used failure as feedback, not proof of inadequacy. C. Anchor to purpose. The Malala Effect. Malala Yousafzai's fight for girls' education wasn't powered by bursts of daily motivation. It was anchored in a cause so deeply personal that quitting wasn't an option. A 2023 Harvard study found that people with purpose-driven goals are 64% more likely to persist through challenges. Purpose acts like a compass when motivation fades. Your practical game plan: do one small thing today. Fold one shirt, write one paragraph, go for a 5-minute walk. Action first, motivation later. Track visible progress. Use a checklist, journal, or app to see your wins. Reconnect with your why. Write it down. Stick it somewhere you'll see daily. Change your environment. Switch up your workspace or routine to spark novelty. Borrow inspiration. Read biographies. Watch interviews. Surround yourself with stories of resilience. Michael Phelps didn't retire after his darkest moment. He rebuilt himself, returned to the Olympics, and won 5 more medals. JK Rowling didn't give up when publishers rejected her. She kept submitting until she built a book series that sold over 600 million copies and transformed children's literature. Elon Musk didn't let 3 failed rockets define SpaceX. He found a way to fund one last launch, and that launch succeeded, making history. These aren't fairy tales. They're proof. Motivation isn't something people find. It's something people decide to create, sometimes in the middle of chaos, heartbreak, or defeat. Here's the truth. You don't have to feel ready to take action. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You just need to start with what you have, where you are. The data backs this up. The American Psychological Association found that people who take one small, concrete action toward a goal increase their likelihood of following through by over 42%. Why? Because action builds confidence, and confidence fuels motivation. Another Harvard Business Review study showed that tracking daily progress, even in tiny amounts, boosts emotional engagement by up to 76%. When you see yourself moving forward, your brain releases dopamine, rewarding you and making you want to keep going. This isn't about superhuman willpower. It's about building a feedback loop that feeds itself. Small action, visible progress, renewed energy. Think of Serena Williams. She didn't win every match because she was always on fire. She won because she kept showing up to practice, even on the days she didn't feel like it. Think of Thomas Edison, who tested over 1,000 prototypes before perfecting the light bulb. When asked how he handled so many failures, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Now imagine if he'd stopped at prototype number 999. If you're listening to this, there's probably a dream, a project, or a change you've been thinking about for weeks, months, maybe years. You've told yourself you'll start when you feel ready. But readiness is a myth. The most successful people in the world don't wait for the right mood. They move, and the mood follows. So here's the challenge. Identify one thing you can do in the next 24 hours to move forward. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Make it small enough that you can't fail. Send one email. Take a 10-minute walk. Read 3 pages of a book. Then track it. Write it down. Let your brain see the win. Do it again tomorrow and the day after. That's how you build a fire. The U.S. National Library of Medicine published a 2023 review showing that building consistent micro-habits not only improves motivation, but also reduces stress levels by up to 38% over 90 days. It's not magic. It's momentum. And momentum doesn't care if you're tired, scared, or uncertain. Once you start rolling, it will carry you forward. But only if you take the first push. Michael Phelps, JK Rowling, Elon Musk, Simone Biles, Serena Williams, Malala Yousafzai, they didn't stay motivated because life was easy. They stayed in the game because they learned how to relight the fire again and again. And now it's your turn. You can't wait for inspiration. You have to go after it with a club. Jack London today, go pick up that club. Your fire is waiting.